He was holding my hand when I was dying. And already lying. The light cut into my eyes. The air felt heavy, like it was filled with water. I couldn't move, only heard muffled sounds around me, voices, machines, footsteps. Something beeped near my ear. I didn't remember where I was. I only felt something foreign inside my body. Pain, weakness, a disconnect from myself. I wanted to ask what happened. But it was like my throat had been sealed shut. My mouth was dry, lips cracked. Someone said my name. I tried to open my eyes. I managed. He was sitting next to me. His hand wrapped around mine. Warm. Steady. I saw his face, tired, unshaven, eyes red like he hadn't slept. He said, "It's over. You're here." I thought I had died. He smiled. And I believed everything would be okay. I was hooked up to tubes. My body didn't feel like mine. I tried to remember. Flashes. Pain. An ambulance. Surgery. Then nothing. I'd been unconscious for nearly 3 days. He stayed the whole time, the nurses said. He held me, stroked my hair, told me he loved me. That I was strong. I cried, not from pain. From gratitude. From not being alone. I thought, this is love. Real love. When you're between life and death, and he's here. But I didn't know that when the doctors left, he'd go into the hallway and check his phone, not for news about me, but to text someone else. Photos. Hearts. I didn't know that while he stroked my hand, he was already slipping a condom into his pocket. Not for me. I didn't know that while I was dying, he was already living somewhere else, with someone else, somewhere he could breathe easily. I looked at his face and thought, I'm so grateful to you. And he looked at me and thought, when will you finally wake up? Not to stay, but to leave cleanly. He sat there, held my hand and lied. Lied without words. Lied as easily as breathing. And I was too weak to hear it. I couldn't stand up. My legs felt foreign, like they were filled with concrete. Every morning began with a nurse lifting me by the elbow, and I'd feel my skin burn under the bandages. I had no appetite. But he insisted, you need to eat. Porridge, soup, broth. He sat next to me, fed me with a spoon. Sometimes wiped the corner of my mouth. Said I was doing great. That he was proud of me. I believed him. Because I wanted to believe. He held my elbow the first time I got out of bed. Brought my things to the room, headphones, a book, hand cream. I couldn't unzip my hoodie by myself. He helped. I watched his fingers, his stubble, and felt safe. And then I started to notice, he looked at his phone a lot. Too much. Smiled at the corner of his mouth when he thought I was asleep. Disappeared for 2 hours. Said he had errands. But there were no receipts. No bags. I didn't ask. I was afraid to be the one who broke the silence. I thought I was the one becoming suspicious. Too sensitive. After surgery, everything gets distorted. I explained it away. Swallowed it. Tried to focus on myself. On breathing. On recovery. He brought me a blanket but wouldn't look me in the eye. Kissed my forehead and vanished. He was there, but like from another world. A world where I no longer mattered. Just a body. Just a function. I didn't know where care ended and indifference began. Didn't know when he started being there just to avoid looking bad. I stayed silent. Because I didn't want to lose my anchor. Any anchor. Even an illusion. I thought if I became better, stronger, prettier, he'd be mine again. But he wasn't. He just hadn't said it out loud yet. We got home in the evening. He drove slowly, carefully, using his turn signals early, keeping one hand on the wheel like he was steering a ship through a storm. I stared out the window at the familiar streets and felt nothing. Just exhaustion. I thought, it'll be easier at home. My pajamas are there. My mugs. My walls. There, I'll feel like myself again. He opened the door. Everything sparkled. The smell of lemon cleaner, Not a single crumb on the floor, pillows perfectly fluffed, blanket folded like in a catalog. Too perfect. I knew he had cleaned. But it wasn't care. It was sterilization. As if during my absence, he had been trying to scrub me away, not just the dust. On the nightstand was a note. Welcome home. His handwriting. I smiled. He smiled back. But his eyes were somewhere else. I tried not to feel it. He made tea, opened a jar of honey for me, stroked my hair. But he did it like checking boxes on a list. I was home. But home no longer knew me. And he wasn't seeing me. In the evenings, he would go to the shower and stay in there for an hour. Came out with dry hair. Sometimes with a faint scent of someone else's soap. I didn't ask anything. During the day, he said he had meetings. Work. Clients. I nodded. But inside, I no longer believed him. His voice got sharper. One time I asked him to hand me my phone, and he said, "Can you do it yourself?" Too fast, too annoyed. I apologized. He kissed the top of my head. Said he was tired. I believed him. I wanted to believe. But every night I'd wake up and hear him typing. Fast. Like he was writing to someone who was waiting. Not me. I lay in our bed, in the pajamas he once gave me. And I felt, he's here. But not with me. He didn't come back to his wife. He came back to a patient. And he was waiting for the moment it would be okay to leave for good. We were driving in his car when it slipped out from under the seat. A small hair clip. Beige, with a tiny sparkle at the tip. I leaned down, picked it up, held it in my palm. I stared at it like it held more truth than all his words over the past few weeks. I asked, "Whose is this?" He looked in the mirror, shrugged. Said he didn't know. Probably his sister's. I nodded. But his sister had short hair. I knew that. He knew I knew that. But he wasn't going to explain. Just turned on the radio. I said nothing. The next day, he came home later than usual. He smelled different. Not like home. Not like us. I asked again. Directly. No hedging. He got angry. Said I was obsessing. That after the hospital, I was overreacting. That I was starting to lose it. I listened and felt the ground give way beneath me. Not because of the clip. Because of how easily he twisted things. How effortlessly he made it my fault. He said I'd changed. That I was suffocating him. That he was trying and I was just looking for drama. He stormed into another room. Loudly. With his phone. I was left alone. With the clip in my hand. It was cheap. But it weighed like iron. Everything inside me clenched. I didn't know who to believe. Myself or the man who held my hand while I lay under IVs. I didn't want to be hysterical. Didn't want to lose it. I wanted proof. But the truth had already happened, I felt it. He wasn't mine anymore. And maybe he never really was. I turned off my phone. Deleted all the messaging apps. Blocked everything tied to his name. I found an apartment through a listing, no view, no coziness, no history. One room, motel-style curtains, a squeaky bed, and a kettle with a chipped handle. I lay there at night staring at the ceiling, where the paint peeled like my skin after surgery. During the day, I tried to breathe evenly. No breakdowns. No meltdowns. No contact. The pain didn't go away, it just changed shape. First, it suffocated. Then it buzzed in the background. Then it dulled, like my insides had turned to ice. I had no energy. Not for books. Not for food. Not for conversation. I slept in my clothes. Didn't wash my hair. I just stayed silent. Deeply. Almost to the point of breaking. Sometimes I'd wake at 4 in the morning in a panic, like my heart forgot how to beat. I was afraid to check my email. Afraid to leave the house. Afraid of ever being close to someone again who might one day say, "I didn't know if you'd make it." That phrase haunted me. Stuck in my throat. I repeated it out loud, just to make sure it was real. I vanished from social media. Stopped replying to friends. Not because I didn't need them. Because I was a stranger to myself. I didn't know who I was without him. Who I was without waiting to be saved. Who I was without someone holding my hand, even if it was a lie. But in that emptiness, something started to shift. I began to feel my breath returning. Unsteady. But mine. I poured myself tea. Sat by the window. And just sat. No spiraling. No analyzing. Just existed. And for the first time in a long time, without fear. Because now, there was no one nearby who called my weakness inconvenient. I disappeared from their world. So I could return to my own. I went to the rehab center by myself. Found the address, signed up, got there without him, without help, without support. The first day was hell. The room smelled of medicine, stranger's skin, and sweat. The instructor had a kind face, but hands that didn't believe in mercy. I lifted my leg like I was dragging an entire bus behind me. But I lifted it. Then the other. Then I took a step. Through the pain, through the sweat, through tears that didn't fall. I took myself to the pharmacy, picked out vitamins. Not the ones he used to buy. My own. I went to a hair salon. Cut my hair. Not dramatically. But enough to see that the reflection in the mirror was already someone else. I bought a ring, simple silver. Not a symbol. An anchor. A gift to myself. I walked into a flower shop and chose the bouquet I had always wanted. Not for him. For me. No one saw. No one praised me. No one put a hand on my shoulder. Just me. Just the voice inside, you can. I rented a better apartment. With windows. A throw blanket. A decent bathroom. I picked every item myself. Hung the curtains myself. Screwed in the light bulb myself. I went back to work. My coworker said, "So good to have you back." And I thought, you have no idea. I didn't just return to the office. I returned to my body. To the right to breathe. To myself. I stopped waiting for messages. I didn't check his profile. I didn't listen to voice notes. He was somewhere out there, but no longer had power over me. I didn't hate him. I just wasn't dependent anymore. I woke up each morning, poured water, looked out the window, and didn't feel like I had to be someone else. I was living again. Without crutches. Without a performance. Without an audience. And in that quiet, for the first time, I believed, if I made it this far, I can go farther. He texted on a Sunday. A simple message, "How are you?" No punctuation. No time. Like he had just lost the thread and was trying to catch it again. Then a video. An old one of us together. He's off camera, I'm laughing. Shot on vacation, back when I still believed we could be saved. Then a voice message. His voice had changed. Softer. Slower. He said, "I've realized a lot." Said he missed me. That it had all been a mistake. That he wasn't ready. That he got scared. That now he sees. I wasn't just important. I was the only one. I listened. With headphones on. Sitting in the kitchen, tea in hand. Looking out the window, trees swaying outside. I thought there'd be a spark. That my heart would twitch. That my body would remember. But inside, it was calm. Quiet. No pain. No anger. No urge to respond. I just sat there and felt, he's not talking to me. He's talking to the woman who died that night he confessed. She's gone. I'm someone else now. I'm strong. I'm real. I'm not someone to come back to. I didn't write back. Didn't answer. He sent flowers. No note. I put them in the sink. Not out of revenge. But because they didn't feel like they were mine. He wrote again. Long, emotional. I deleted it. Not out of anger. Out of knowing. This isn't a conversation. It's a last grasp for a door that's already closed. I'm grateful to him. Not for love. For showing me that when it hurts, you can grow. You can stop being afraid. You can start over. He didn't destroy me. He destroyed the version of me I no longer wanted to return to. And for that, thank you. I haven't forgiven him. But I don't hold on either. Because to hold on, you have to be attached. And I'm no longer tied to him. Or the past. Or who I used to be. I look at myself in the morning and I don't search for flaws. I don't fix my hair, don't suck in my stomach, don't try to be more convenient. I look and I see a woman I respect. Not for being tough. For being honest. For staying when everything around her was falling apart. When her whole body screamed, run, disappear, die, but she chose to live. Not beautifully. Not instantly. But truly. I no longer think about how I look in someone else's eyes. I think about how I feel inside. My foundation now isn't someone's hands holding me. It's my own feet, moving forward. I've walked the path from 4 drips to my own strength. From, I don't know who I am to, I am. I don't wait for someone to save me anymore. I've already saved myself. Not in spite of everything, but because of it. His betrayal. My pain. The silence. The fear. Everything that burned me down and became the coal that now fuels my own fire. I'm not dependent. I'm not comparing. I'm not clinging. I'm living. And every time I take my own hand, one thing echoes inside, you've come back. Whole. Strong. Without breaking. Without needing to prove anything. Just because you chose yourself. Not because someone else chose you. I'm not waiting anymore for love that makes me small. I've become someone who loves and doesn't lose herself in it. I am my own home. I am my own truth. And in this new life, there's nothing fake. Only me. Real. I don't ask for the key anymore, I open my own doors. Morning. Silence. My new apartment, not luxurious, but every item in it was chosen by me. I wake without dread. Pour water. Brew tea. On the windowsill, flowers. Not from anyone. From me. I smile without checking my reflection. Just smile. Because for the first time in a long time, I'm not waiting for someone to ruin my day. I sit at my desk. I write my to-do list. It has only what matters to me. No one else's expectations. No roles. No need to justify someone else's silence. A new lock hangs on the door. The key in my hand, metal, smooth-edged. It's not borrowed. It's not temporary. It's mine. I'm no longer afraid of being alone. Because I'm not alone. I'm with myself. Fully. Without holes to be patched by a relationship. Without wounds someone else can use to keep control. My life isn't a reaction. It's a choice. And I choose to be. To be alive. To be calm. To be strong, not with armor, but with awareness. I've been through hell, and didn't come out the same. I didn't go back to who I was. I rebuilt myself. And now every step is mine. Not approved. Not permitted. Free. If you've made it this far with me, if you saw yourself in these words, then you're ready to choose yourself too. Subscribe to the channel to hear more stories like this. About women who've walked through pain and came home to themselves. Because real freedom begins with one thing, you stop waiting for someone to unlock the door. You take the key. And open your life yourself.